And we're very blessed. We have a lot of abilities and a lot of talents in this church. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. I appreciate everybody's abilities and what they do, and it's amazing that God has brought so many different people and different talents together. It's really a cool thing. This evening I'm going to finish up my little dysentery on David, and young David's coming, and I'm going to finish that up. But before I do that, I want to thank you guys for allowing me to be gone. And I heard that Tommy Clark did a great job. I knew he would. That's why I asked him. And I'm thankful for him. For y'all that don't know, he's been taking care of our teenagers up the street for the summertime. And you know what a great blessing that is to just say, hey, can you do that? And I don't have to worry about it. That is such a wonderful, because I know he's not going to do something stupid. I know he's not going to do something crazy. And I know he's going to pour into our kids. And I'm very thankful for him. And if you guys get a chance, I know you don't see him very often, but just tell him thank you. He doesn't ask for that. He's never said, well, someone needs to thank me. No, very humble, very humble guy, very genuine. And if you ever get a chance, you ever see him, just say, hey, thank you for helping us, because I wish I could keep him forever, but I can't. But just hoping that he'll stay with us for a while. But I appreciate you guys allowing us to do that, allowing me to be gone, and I knew he would do a great job. The thing I want to talk to you tonight about is this, and I'm wrapping this up, is man, we have such talents and such abilities in this place, and I'm going to go through some of the abilities of David and kind of try to connect them with us. Does that make sense? You know, I know that sometimes we get all gung-ho, and it's like, you know, David's facing Goliath, right? And we put it in our lives. It's like, I can lose 10 pounds. That's my Goliath, you know. And you know, it's not really a Goliath, but it is. You know what I'm saying? And we try to marginalize it, and we say, okay, my Goliath is my weight, so I'm going to battle Goliath, and so I'm going to try. We really understand that David's Goliath is a lot greater than me losing 10 pounds, and so we try to marginalize, try to put it in our lives, and all those things. But for us today, I'm going to try to go through some of the characteristics of David and try to connect them with us a little bit. And if I fail, I'll fail trying. How's that? I'm going to try to do the best I can with that, and how David's characteristics kind of match some of the people in our church tonight, and some of the things that we have. And because I believe there's some young Davids in the church. I believe that we have young Davids here. I believe we have 60-year-old Davids here, amen? Maybe we're not young, but we're not old, and we're kind of marginalized there. We're kind of right there at it, but we're not quite there. And so I believe with all my heart that God has something for us. And if you have your Bible, would you turn with me to 1 Samuel again? 1 Samuel chapter 16, 6 and 7. 1 Samuel 16, 6 and 7. And so it was when they came that they looked at Eliab and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. Listen, you may not look like the king, and maybe everybody else dismisses you. But just because somebody looks like him doesn't mean that's him. Just because somebody else may look better than you. Maybe somebody sings better than you. Maybe somebody is a better administrator than you. Maybe somebody's a better preacher than you. Maybe somebody's a better chair putter outer than you. Maybe they, my friend Jerry Kuhn. I love working with Jerry because Jerry is so crazy. But anyway, every chair has to be exactly in line. And if it's not, it just drives him crazy. Every chair we've ever put out with him and I together, the thousands of chairs we put out together, every one of them has to be perfectly in line. Which is cool. Unless you've got 1,000 chairs to put out, you're like, who cares? Okay, but because it just bugs him if it's not if there's one just a little too far out. So he's a better chair putter outer than I am. Okay, because I've tried to get everything pretty straight, but I don't get the slide rule out and make sure it's straight. Okay, I don't get the level out, make sure everything's level. But Jerry does, because he's just nuts, and so that's just part of his character. But just because somebody is better at something than you doesn't mean they're not. Doesn't mean that they are qualified like you are, because God has qualified you and given you that anointing. And just because they may look better than you doesn't mean that's who they are. Is you with me? Verse 7 says, "But the Lord said unto Samuel, do not look on his appearance or at his physical stature, because I refused him. For the Lord does not see as man sees. For a man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Okay. I have, for almost 6 years now. Has it been 6 years? Yeah, close. When was it? September? October? August? August 14th? I never can remember when I started pastoring this church. August 14th, day after Brother Turner's birthday, I began pastoring this church, doing my very best to change the heart and the culture into what God would have me. Not that Brother Turner's was wrong, but what God would lay on my heart to do. What God would challenge me to do. And I've tried to change the heart to the lost and the dying and the damned of humanity. To change our heart from good enough to excellence, and and I'm not very good at that sometimes. I try, but there's only 24 hours in a day, and sometimes I run out of day. And so I just want to say a couple of things that I've tried to have God look in my heart. And I might not be the best preacher in town, and I may not be the best administrator in town, but God looks upon my heart, and He sees what it is that He's laid on my heart to do. So God doesn't see from the appearance, but He looks at the heart. And so Jesse called Abinadab and made, did I skip it wrong? 6 and 7, that's all I wanted to do. Sorry. And so let's go to 1 Samuel 17 through 20. I'll get back to the other one just in a minute. 17 through 20. Then Jesse said to his son David, "Take now for your brothers an ephah of this dried grain and these 10 loaves, and run to your brothers at the camp. And carry these 10 cheeses to the captain of the thousands, and see how your brothers fare, and bring back news of them." Now Saul said they had all the men of Israel were in the valley of Elah fighting with the Philistines. So David rose early in the morning, left the sheep with a keeper, and took the things and went to Jesse went as Jesse had commanded. And he came to the camp as the army was going out to fight, and shouted for the battle. Let's read 21. For Israel and the Philistines had drawn up in battle an array, army against army. We have a battle that we're fighting. There's a battle line drawn.
Yes, amen.
If you don't believe that, just watch the news. Watch what's going on in the lives of our people. Look and see what God's doing and positioning us. He's positioning His church to where we're array against the other armies of the enemy. God is positioning the church, and God is getting young men ready to lead. Now I'm 48 years old, I'm 48 and a half years old. I'm not old, but I'm not young. Okay? When I wake up in the morning and I'm sore, and I don't know why. Anybody? I guess for my body going from this position to this position was just too much. I don't know. And I wake up and I'm sore. That tells me that I'm not 28 anymore. I'm 48. I used to be able to sleep 2 hours and work all day and not have any problems. Now I have to work all day and I have to take an hour nap because I'm tired. It's hot, man, and I'm tired. And so there used to be some things in my life that were different, but I've noticed changes in my body because I'm getting older. And at 48 years old, I can tell you that I'm not an old man, but I'm not a young man anymore. I'm not able to do what I used to do anymore. I wish that, I still wish that I was about 10 years younger when I had Adam, because I could still dominate him. Okay, but hear me just a minute. If I was 38 instead of 48, you'd be in trouble. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. So I understand that I've always felt like I'm 10 years behind. Does that make any sense to anybody? I always feel like I'm trying to catch up 10 years. I'm always behind. I should have started that 10 years ago. I should have done that 10 years ago. I should have done this earlier in my life. I'm always trying to catch up. It's like, we started our family. I wish we started it earlier. I wish we had done some things earlier in our lives. I wish we had done some things differently in our church life. I wish we had done this or that. And so I always feel like I'm reaching 10 years into my past, trying to, does that make sense? Because I feel like I'm behind. And I'm running and I'm trying to get there. But I want to share this with you that David went to the battle, and God is getting us ready, because there's some young men that are coming up behind us that we've got to train and have them ready to fight. And I don't want them to be 10 years behind. I don't want them to be 48 years old and saying, man, if I could just know this at 38. Because I'm going to train and teach them how to live for God, how to be the best they can be for God, because we have some young men coming up. And so I want to share just a couple of things with you. David had courage. And I used this morning, because I wasn't going to, but I did this morning. But David had courage to act without weighing the danger. When you're a young man, you think you're immortal. True? You'll do anything. Nothing scares you. You jump off of cliffs into lake water. Nobody ever did that? Okay. You swing off ropes. You know how long they've been swinging? They've been and they're rotting, and you'll jump off and do stuff, and you'll fight. Nobody ever fought? We used to have boxing matches in the Lord have mercy. Okay, maybe I'm just a weird kid, Mom. Sorry, but we used to, me and Greg and Roger and some other guys. The only rule that we had was you couldn't hit the face, because it was just like hands, and you could just hit the chest. And we would box all the time. And it hurts to do that now. So it didn't used to hurt, but now it hurts. But we would, the only rule, you couldn't hit somebody in the face. You could hit him in the chest, and you could hit him in the midsection, but you couldn't hit him in the face. That was the only rule. And it was just about 10 of us, and we would do that. And because we're guys. That's what we did. Because we thought it was fun. But we had courage. We had courage because we didn't weigh the danger. We didn't think about things like, listen, when we were young men, we took motorcycles and just went as fast as we could and jumped over hills and tried to do stupid stuff, and we didn't worry about getting hurt. If you got hurt, you limped off and you rubbed some dirt on it and you just went on, And so we just did, that's what we did. Because we were oblivious to danger, because we didn't weigh that. We had courage. Listen, and so there's some folks in here today that you have courage like that spiritually. You see a problem and you just run for it, and you just go after it. You don't worry about the danger part of it. You just see that something needs to be done, and you have courage. That's a wonderful attribute to have. Because listen, courage keeps you from being paralyzed by fear. Right. Because everybody's scared. Yeah. But here's the deal. What do you do when you're scared? Do you cower in fear, or do you run toward the enemy? Well, everybody has fear. But can you conquer the fear with courage? Do you have courage? Do you stand up in the face of your enemies, even when your enemy looks like there's no way you can defeat that enemy? But do you stand up? Do you have courage to stand and fight when you're scared to death? When you don't know what to do you still just fight? Do you have courage today? I believe there's people in here this afternoon, that have courage. You have courage to do what God's called you to do, and you're fearless. I wish I was fearless. I want to be fearless. I'm working on it. I want to be fearless, to where I can just say, you know what? I don't care. Let's just go for it. Let's go for it. It doesn't matter. Let's just go for it. Because listen, I would rather fail trying to do something for God instead of just sit down and not do anything for God. I'd rather fail and say, listen, that didn't work. Let's try something else. Than to be a person that said, well, I was too afraid to do anything, so we didn't do anything. I had my one talent, and I hid it in the ground because I knew that you're a master that you sow where you don't reap, and you reap where you don't sow, whatever that I was put in there. And I had one talent, so I buried it in the ground. I didn't win anything. I didn't get any interest for you because I was afraid. I don't want to be afraid. I want to have courage. Can someone say courage? Courage. It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. The lion already got courage. He just didn't know he had courage. Amen? Amen. The lion knew he had courage. If he was the king of the forest. Come on. He already had courage. But he just didn't know he had courage. And you got to tap into that courage. You got to say, listen, David had courage to go face an enemy that he knew was bigger than him, knew he had armor, knew everything. But the thing that David knew is that man, that uncircumcised Philistine doesn't have the power of God behind him like I do. And so listen, can I share this with you? Even though you are maybe fearful of something in your life, God himself is behind you and with you. And you have the God of all creation in your life. Don't you be afraid of anything. You go on and you do what God has said to do in your life. Have courage. Be strong and courageous. And be very courageous. Amen. That's what God told Joshua. Willingness. I think there's some folks at the TOP that are willing to serve. I think there are some that aren't, but I think there's some that are. I think there's some that are willing to let you serve. As somebody asked me one time, how come we don't have vacation Bible school? I said, because everybody's willing to let me do it. Come on. Preach on, preacher. Preach on. But I have a lady that I'm staring at, she's not looking at me. And another lady that asked me about it this year, and they're serious about helping out, and they'll probably do one. And because I think it's important that we do that. It's very important. Listen, I think anytime we can get Bible into somebody, then we need to do it. Willingness. Willingness to serve. Are you willing to serve when nobody knows your name? Are you willing to serve when you feel like you've been abused? Because you had to do it 4 times, or 5 times, or 9 times, or 8 times, or 25 times. There's an ongoing joke between me and Donald. If you ever do anything in this church one time, it's yours for life. That's pretty much been the case, right? If you ever show up and do it one time, that's your ministry. And so we're trying to get away from that because that's not really very good. But Donald and I used to always joke about it. If we ever drove the van one time, then it's your job. You got to just keep the keys because it's your job. And so that's kind of how it is. But there's also folks that are willing to do that and have a heart to serve. You have to have a heart to serve. You have to have a heart to be used of God. You can't just say, I want God to use me one time. And then, okay, how can I say this? Okay. There's folks that come up all the time, hey, we need to do this. We need to do this or that, the other. That's great. Well, God spoke to me to do this. Okay, that's great. Then you need to do that. But then within like a month or 2 months, all of a sudden God changed his mind. And now, when it became work, and it became ministry, see, ministry is supposed to be, I get part of the ministry team, I get a key. See, you didn't know getting a key meant you had to wait for everybody else to leave so you lock the door. You thought it was just, hey, I get a key, I have a key to the church. Great. You know what that means? Everybody leaves and you're still here. That's what that means. Because you have to lock the door. It's great to have the key, Because you need one to get in. Teachers, I'm glad all teachers have keys so they can get in to the church and they can do whatever they need to do. But there's responsibility with the key. And you have to have the willingness to have the responsibility. Because it's imperative that happens in your life. And so you have to have willingness. And David was willing to stay in the field while the others were in the house. He was willing to continue to watch the sheep while his brothers were in the house with Samuel. He was willing to serve his father even though his father was not there watching him. He was still willing to serve. When everybody else was in the comfort of the house, David was out in the field with the sheep. So his willingness to stay in the field helped him with his anointing. Amen. Because that was one of the parts of the things that God loved about David, is that David was willing to serve. Skillful. Skillful. There's some folks in here that are very skillful at things. Very skillful. You know what I like about David? This is one of the things I like about David. David was a man who could cut your head off and then write a song about how he cut your head off. I love that. He was very, at an instant, he could change from warrior to psalmist. And from psalmist to king. He had all these attributes. He was very skillful at more than just one thing. He was able to say, you know what? I will fight in this battle. I will do all these things, and then I'll write a song and tell everybody how we got into this battle and how God brought us out. And then they would come to David with king stuff he had to take care of, and then David would handle the king stuff because he was skillful, very skillful at what he did. David was a warrior. So much so he didn't get to build the temple that Solomon had. Because he had blood. He was a man of blood. David was a psalmist. If you don't believe it, read the book of Psalms. David wrote song after song after song, and he played a harp so well that the evil spirits left Saul. That's playing a harp, man. That's getting it. You know, he was Eddie Van Halen on a harp. So he was getting it. He was the man. So much so that the king said, I need David to come play for me. That's pretty good in all of Israel. I need David because David's the best we got. And so he was very skillful. And I believe there's people that are skillful in this church. I believe they're skillful at building things and fixing things and doing things. You're skillful at teaching the Word. I believe that Dean Rush is very skillful at teaching. I believe he's very skillful at teaching the Word of God. I believe that there's I'll just use Dean as an example because I saw him. But I believe there's people that are skillful at playing music and singing. We have those attributes, and God wants to use those things for you. I believe there's people in here that are skillful at leading children that you have not been tapped into yet, and we're abusing other people because you're afraid. But what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not good at that? I believe that God has people in this church that He's anointed to do those things, but you're afraid. Well, I'm not sure I'm good enough. Listen, I'm not called to that. I think that is one of the biggest cop-outs I've ever heard in church, is I'm not called to that. I've done every job in the church, and I'm telling you, I wasn't called to every one of them. I mean, you just have to do what you have to do. I'm not called for that. Yes, you are. You're called to make disciples. And I don't care if that means giving kids a popsicle in the kitchen. That's ministry. Welcome to ministry. I'm the popsicle guy. Scissors, snip, here you go. Because that's what you do. Because it's ministry. I don't care if you're a door greeter and you're just shaking somebody's hand. Hey, thank you for being here. Man, I'm so glad you're here. No, here's the door. Hey, good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, thank you for being here. Hey, God's got something great for you today. I know He does. And so that's the part of ministry. Well, I'm not called to that. Yes, you are. You may not be skillful at that. But you're called to be a disciple maker. You're called to be an ambassador of Christ. You're called to be what God has called called us to do, and that is to make disciples and be ministers of the gospel. And that's what you're called to do. Skilled enough. He was skilled enough to kill anything trying to kill the sheep. David was skillful at it. He was anything that was able to kill the sheep and grab hold of the sheep and carry the sheep off. He was able to skillfully get rid of those. And I know you're sleepy, so I only have 2 more. Strong. David was strong. There's some folks in here that are stronger than you think you are. Brother Jim's not here, so I'm going to talk about him. Many of you know, many of you don't. Brother Jim Lozier lost his 2 children within 2 months of each other. He lost his daughter to cancer. As his daughter's fighting cancer, her husband died of a heart attack in their living room floor. As she's fighting for her life, her husband died. 2 months later, his son took his own life. He's a strong guy. Juanita and her son Lauren got to the house where Jason was at just moments after he committed suicide. There was still smoke in the room from the gunshot. He's never given up on God. He's never quit coming to church. I didn't say he didn't have struggles. I didn't say he didn't have questions. I didn't say he didn't have times of anger. I didn't say he didn't have times of just absolute. I would be so angry because I know me, and you don't have to be like me, but I just know me. I would be so angry, not at God, but at the situation. I was so angry when my brother died. I was so mad. I was so angry when my father-in-law died. I was so angry when Sister Turner died. I was so angry when David's mom died. I was so angry that four people died within 3 months of each other. I was so angry at death. Angry. But I've watched Jim. He's been faithful. He has courage. He's willing to serve. He's skillful. And he's strong. How many of you could handle that and process that and not give up on God, not give up on church, not give up? Why did God do this to me? How could you? But I watch him. And many of you know him, and you know his brothers, and you know him. And I was going to talk about it because I don't like talking about it in front of him. But if he's not here, I'll talk about it. Because I watch him, and he's strong. And there's so many of you that are so strong, but you just don't know it. You've been through hell and back, and you feel like you're a weakling, but you're not. You're not a weakling. You feel like, well, I failed God. Baby, listen. Can I help you? Can Pastor Jet look at me? Can I help you for a minute? You can't fail God. What do you mean I can't fail God? This is what I mean. God gave us Jesus because he knew we were going to have shortcomings in our lives. Now, I didn't say not to strive for perfection, and I didn't say not to strive to do everything right, but do you think that every time that you fall into sin, God goes, I can't believe it? No. Now, some of us don't fall into it. Some of us dive head first, headlong into it. Right? But hear me. It's not that God is taken by surprise, but he gives us an exit out. Okay? Because you know inside your spirit. Now, how many are saved in this house? Come on, give me a... Okay, if you're saved in this house, then you know this. The minute that you go do something contrary to the Word of God and sin enters your life, you know immediately, oh, I need to repent. Because God says, I don't think so, buddy. I don't think that we need to do that. So you're stronger than you think you are. And the devil's convinced you that you're weak because you, quote unquote, have failed God. You've let God down. You don't carry God. God carries you. You can't let Him down. Amen. You with me? Just because you've fallen short, for all have come short of the what? So none of us are right there perfect. Do you remember the example I gave Wednesday night, which I thought was a great example, the Stephen Furtick example? Y'all weren't here, so y'all missed it. But some of y'all didn't, some of y'all weren't here. But how he is in the gap between what my past is and my present. And he stands in the gap between my future and him. Anyway, I don't want to get involved in that. But he's in the gap, man. The gaps of our lives. So you're stronger than you think you are. Even when you feel weak, you're stronger. Because in my weakness, He is. In my weakness, He is. In my weakness, He is. In my weakness, He is strong. Because when I get out of the way and let God do it, He's strong. Because He was strong enough to take the sheep out of the danger and put them into safety. David was strong. And David was not just simply a young man who was out there hanging out, whittling while the sheep were out there doing what they do. He was watching and protecting them. He was skillful at it. He had courage. He was willing to do it. And he was strong. And in my weakness, He is strong. Last one, and I'll leave you alone because you're looking like you're bored. Engaged. Engaged. I know how it is in church. I've been in church a long time. And I know how it is to get used to what we do and not really be engaged. And not really get involved. But just kind of go through the motions of church. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Just kind of go through the ceremony of church. But not really engage with God. But David was engaged. He was engaged so much that he noticed when one sheep was missing to go fight a lion. He was engaged so much that he noticed when one bear had taken a lamb out of the sheepfold. He was engaged enough to see what was going on around him. He wasn't just simply sitting around hoping that something good would happen, but he was engaged to try to make something happen. He was engaged in what he was doing because, number one, he had courage to do it. Number two, he was willing to do it. Number three, he was skillful to do it. Number four, he was strong enough to do it. And number five, he was engaged and connected and said, I'm going to take care of my sheep. I'm going to take care of what God has given me to take care of, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability because I am engaged in what I'm doing. So my question to you, TOP, is this. Are you engaged in what you're doing? Or are you just going through the motions of church because you don't feel like you have courage? Because you don't feel like you're really willing. I kind of want to, but I don't know. Are you skillful? Can I help you for a minute? Do you know you don't get everything you need from church? I love church, and I love coming to church, and I love being at church. But you're not going to get everything you need at church to be skillful at what it is God's called you to do. What do you mean, Brother Jeff? Sister Norma? You have your doctorate, is that correct? Master's. Master's? Does anybody else have a master's degree? Kevin, master's, show the master's. Okay. They just give those out. You just show up and they write it, they just sign it. No. No. You had to go earn it, didn't you? I remember when Janet was getting hers and she was about to pull her hair out. And someone said something about, just 2 more years, right? To be a doctorate? And she's like, yeah, okay. I'm good. I'm good. They don't just give those out, do they, Shirley? You had to actually go earn it, didn't you? Wow. Kevin? See, there's some people in here. See, you probably didn't know you had 3, 4 people in here with master's degrees. That's incredible. Nursing? I know, but you have your nursing certificate, right? There's some for you. Anybody else have a degree of any type? Kim? Doug? You didn't know there's people like that around you, did you? Tommy Clark who's helping us? Yes, it's doctor. He's Dr. Tommy Clark. Earned doctorate. It's not, they don't hand those out. You got to go get them. And you know what? And let me ask you guys the two ladies a question. Now, Janet, you've been going to church since what, 1980s? Okay. Did they say, hey, since you've been going to church since 1980, whatever, here's your master's degree? No, they didn't. You actually had to go earn it and go do something outside of church. Now, will God help you? Yes, God will help you. Will God give you the ability to do it? Yes, He will. Does church help you to focus on those things and do it? Yes, of course. But still yet, you don't get everything you need to be skillful in what it is that you're going to do just by coming to church. You have to go earn that. You have to go get that. You have to go do something different. Listen, I had to go through preacher school. I earned my big associate's degree from Seminole State College. I earned my business degree from Seminole State College. And listen, they didn't just hand it to me. I had to go get it. It's just an associate's degree in marketing. But still yet, I had to go every day and do it. And then I had to go through our little Pentecostal Church of God. And then, listen, we talk about your Pentecostal Church of God thing, but it's not easy. It's a 6-year process. It's not, just show up and say, "Hi, I want license." It's a 6-year process. It's not like it's, "Oh, well, Joe wants one. Here you go, Joe." No, this isn't the internet. You have to know kind of what you're talking about, kind of what you're doing. You have to go get it. You have to go. I didn't learn everything to get my license to do this, which I don't know why I did it. But anyway, I didn't just walk up to them and say, "Hey, I want one." And I didn't just learn it in church. I had to open some books, and I had to study, and I had to study, and I had to get it done. And what kills me is people that say, "I can't do that. I have a family." Yeah, you can. I worked full-time, went to church full-time, went to school full-time. You can do it if you want to do it. What do you want to do? You can do it. But you don't get everything that you need to be skillful just sitting in the house of God. Because you have to learn something. David didn't learn how to be a warrior simply by watching sheep. Come on. Now he learned how to sling a stone. He learned how to herd sheep. But he didn't learn how to array a battle by watching sheep. He learned that in the house of Saul. Come on, man. Even when Saul was trying to kill him, he learned it. He's skillful. And so we have some people in here that are very skillful. That really know what they're talking about. They really have spent some time as an issue. But the problem is we need to be engaged. Use that thing that God has given you. Use that gift that God's given you. Use that degree that God has given you. Use those things that God, listen, I know you wouldn't earn it, but God helped you. So go take those things that God has given you and use them for the kingdom of God. Be passionate about something in God's house and be passionate about what God has called you to do. I mean, we sit around and listen, I know, and the reason I didn't mean to call y'all out, but I knew there were at least 3 of you that had masters, but I couldn't remember. That, to me, I love that. That is just awesome to me. Why? Listen, if you don't have a degree at all, that doesn't make you any less. It doesn't make you any less of anything. It doesn't. You don't have to have a degree in anything to be skillful at something. I don't mean to didn't say that. I just got caught what I may have been giving across like, and I don't want you to get that in your spirit. Just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're skillful. But some folks don't have a degree and are very skillful. I use Mr. Freeman all the time as an example. Mr. Freeman, Sharon Freeman's daddy, Sharon Starnes' dad, very smart guy. Super smart guy. Really loved him a lot. And the superintendent at New Lima forever and a day. What was his name? Hill. Bryce Hill. Would go to him for advice on what to do. Bryce Hill had his doctorate degree. But he would go to a man who never went to college a day in his life because he had knowledge and he was skillful and he was very wise. It doesn't matter if you have a degree or not. I just use that as an example. Please don't say, well, Brother Jeff said, if I don't have a degree, I'm not worth anything. That's not what I said. What I'm saying is this. This man right here, the best bricklayer ever in the history of bricklaying. Okay? If it's bricked in Seminole, he probably has something to do with it. Okay? Skillful. You know what degree he got? A life degree. A work degree. He has a degree in WORK. That's what he has. He's a doctorate of masonry. Because why? He's done it for years and years and years. And I'm just using them as examples. But understand, whatever it is and whatever God has placed in your life, do it skillfully. Do it with the best you can. Go find some ways to find out how to do it better. Because when you're passionate about it, you'll dig into it and you'll learn how to do it better. Listen, if you're a whatever you are in the house of God, there's somebody that's giving you a course, a class. There's somebody that'll help you to be the best you can be at what it is and whatever it is that you are. Now listen, there's some folks that have a mom degree, and they're great at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't ever let anybody belittle you because, well, you didn't go to school. No, I didn't go to school. I had a family to raise. I raised my family. Oh, you didn't have a job? It just fascinates me that I watch what my wife does and how she, stays in the 4 kids and she's there and she does all this stuff and, oh, you don't have a job? And no, I don't. I lay around and eat bonbons. But because people will say that, they don't mean it like that. But they say, oh, you don't work? Don't they? Oh, you don't work? No, I don't. I just sit around. Watch the TV. Wait for the phone to ring. Wait for my husband to call. Because if you just don't know, you just don't know. And people don't mean it that way. They don't mean it that way. They just mean, oh, you don't have a job outside the home. And I understand that. But hear me. And I'm wrapping up. Listen. This is a message I preached a few months ago called Changing the Culture. The culture is this. People with shared beliefs and practices. A group of people whose shared beliefs and practices identify the particular places, class, or time in which they belong. The culture of the nation was sacrifice, washing with water, allowing the high priest to take sacrifices to God for the whole nation, for the sacrifice of sin for the year. No one had access to God but the high priest. I preached this, several months ago. And I brought that up for this reason. God is changing and our culture is changing. Not God is changing, but our culture is changing. And God is changing our methods. He has to. God's not taken by surprise by the culture change. He's not. God just steps in and says, this is how I need you to do it. This is how I want you to do it. This is how it has to be done. So we need to change the culture. Okay. How many ever had those little balls with the shapes? And you pull it apart and all the shapes fall off and you do it again? Yeah? No kids ever had that? Y'all were abused as children. Okay, so listen. That round shape, you can make it fit in a square hole. You can. But that square one you can't make fit in the round one. And we can continue to do what we do, and we can continue to make everybody say, we're round and you're square and you're going to conform to us. We can continue to do that. And we'll survive another 10 years. We will. And we'll still flourish for another 10 years. Or we can say, I'm going to make it. I'm going when I say this, I don't want you to think I'm saying we're changing the gospel, because we're not. The gospel doesn't change. The passion in which we believe and we follow Christ doesn't change. The way that we believe in God, I believe in the baptism of the Holy Ghost. I believe in tongues. I believe in interpretation of tongues. I believe in shouting. I believe in all that stuff. I believe in all that stuff. And we don't change that belief one iota for anybody. I don't care who you are. I'm not changing what I believe. You come too late to tell me that tongues are of the devil. You come too late to tell me that people don't prophesy and have words of wisdom. You come too late to tell me that. But can I share with you? There's some young Davids out there. They're squares. And we're trying to shove them in a round hole. And they don't want to be shoved in a round hole. They don't want to hear, you have to look like me and part your hair on the side. They want to be who God's called them to be. Amen. Without the restriction that I put on them. What did God tell them? This is what God told them. This is what God told us to do. Go and make disciples, not carbon copies. There was none of the disciples that were alike. Look at them, study them, and do it. None of them were alike. And you think Peter was like any of the rest of them, you're nuts. Peter was crazy. Brother Valley calls him Psycho Sid. Because he was crazy. He was just, at one minute he's telling Jesus how much he loves him. The next minute he's got a sword trying to cut somebody's head off. And are you telling me that Stephen was the same way? No, Stephen stood there and got stoned and fell asleep. Where Peter would have been yelling at people for throwing rocks at him. Paul, the Apostle Paul was not like everybody else. He was the doctor of philosophy or religion. He had his doctorate degree. Theology, thank you. He had his doctorate degree because Paul had spent time in the temple. He was smart and he had debated people in the synagogues. And Paul was different than the fishermen. They were all different. Jesus said, go make disciples, not carbon copies. You can't make a carbon copy out of everybody. Not everybody's like you. I know you like you, but not everybody's like you. Not everybody walks like you. Not everybody wants to dress like you. Can you believe that? Not everybody thinks that what you wear is the most awesome thing. They don't want to wear that. They want to do what God's called them to be and God's asked them to be. And so I'm going to share this with you and I'll leave you alone. It's 7:30 if you're taking medicine. It's 7:30. Listen. Here is the whole pinnacle of what I want to get across to you is this. God has some Davids outside watching sheep that he's trying to draw into the house where the anointing is. Because where the anointing is, there's freedom. Hear me. David never killed a bear or a lion or a Goliath until the anointing fell on him. Come on, help me. But when the anointing fell on him, bears didn't scare him, lions didn't scare him, and uncircumcised Philistines sure didn't scare him. And he ran to the battle and he fought with them. Now listen, are you going to be the army of Israel that's hiding behind rocks and everything else when the Goliath comes out? Or are you going to be those guys that say, listen, hey David, can I get some rocks for you? Hey David, here's your sling. Don't get him. Don't get him. Let's go fight him. Because what happened, listen, what happened after David cut off Goliath's head? What happened? That's not, the end of the story isn't when David cut off Goliath's head. The end of the story is, it keeps going. What happened? What did the army do? The enemy fled. Army chased him and killed him, right? The enemy fled when a young man who wasn't even part of the army, he wasn't even a soldier, He wasn't fit to be with everybody else. He was too young. And so a young man who killed a giant that the army couldn't kill, then after he killed and chopped the head off, the armies ran after the enemy that was fleeing and killed the enemy. So what am I saying, Brother Jeff? This is what I'm saying. Sometimes, now let's say all the time, sometimes there are young men who we just have to let go and say, listen, God, you use them however you can use them. And let them fling a stone, and let them cut the head off the giants that are facing us, and then let the enemies flee, and let the army of God stand up and be what the army of God is, and chase down our enemy and slay them, because one young man said, I killed the lion, and I killed the bear, and I'm not afraid of you, and I will cut your head off, and I will feed your carcass to the birds today. And he ran after them. And he ran to the battles because David had courage. David had courage. David was willing to fight. David was skillful at fighting. David was strong. And when all the army of God was fleeing, David was engaged. He said, is there not a cause? When everybody else was saying, what are you doing here? You don't need to be here. You're not a soldier. Is there not a cause? And my question to you is there not a cause today? I know I didn't yell and scream and spit at you like I normally do. But my question to you, the church, the whole church, is this. Is there not a cause? Is there not a reason to be what God has called us to be? That is the church of Jesus Christ. To stand up in the fight. Just stand up in the fray. Are you ready? Are you afraid you're going to get hurt? Have courage. Be skillful. Because you can do this. Amen? You can do this. Amen? Can we just go change the world? Can we just go change the world? I just want to change the world. I just want to, from Seminole, Oklahoma, I just want to change the world. Is that too much to ask? I just want to change the world. I just want to go in there and reach into the world and just shake it real good. I just want to reach in there and shake some loose things off. Can we just go change the world? I believe we can do it, amen? I believe there's people in here right now that are world changers and giant killers. I believe that with all my heart. I would preach it. Because you guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. Stand to your feet with me.